It was a Tuesday afternoon when the realization hit me. I sat by the window of my new room at Sunset Haven, watching residents shuffle past in the hallway, their faces masking emotions I couldn't quite read. 3 weeks had passed since my children helped move my belongings into this premier senior living facility. They meant well, we all did. Safety, convenience, and professional care seemed like reasonable trades for the increasing challenges of maintaining my independence. Yet in that quiet moment, watching the institutional routine unfold around me, I felt a profound sense of loss washing over me. In this video, I'll reveal 6 shocking truths about life in a nursing home that changed my perspective forever. These aren't complaints, they're revelations that I wish someone had shared with me before I made this life-altering decision. Have you ever questioned if the comfort and security of a nursing home comes with hidden sacrifices to your freedom, identity, and spirit? Many of us don't, until we're living that reality daily. My story isn't unique. Across America, nearly 1.3 million people reside in nursing facilities. Many harboring similar feelings, they struggle to articulate to well-meaning family members who believe they've made the best choice. The brochures show smiling seniors engaged in vibrant activities, but glossy marketing rarely captures the full experience of transitioning from a self-directed life to an institutionalized one. I'm sharing these truths not to discourage necessary care, but to ensure you make this decision with complete awareness of what lies beneath the surface. Whether you're considering this path for yourself or a loved one, these insights might help you navigate alternatives or better prepare for the challenges that come with nursing home living. Watch until the end to learn the real challenges that demand thoughtful consideration about future care options. My goal isn't to frighten, but to empower, because knowledge, even uncomfortable knowledge, is essential for making choices that honor the dignity and richness of our later years. Let's begin by uncovering the hidden struggles that silently affect your independence and social life, transforming what should be golden years into something far less brilliant. The first shock came within days of settling into my new residence. Despite the friendly staff and clean surroundings, I quickly discovered that my life was no longer truly my own. Truth number 1 is the profound loss of personal autonomy that occurs almost immediately. The daily schedule that once reflected my preferences and natural rhythms was replaced by an institutional timetable. Breakfast at 7:30, medications at specific hours, activities at predetermined times, lights out by 10 o'clock. Even simple pleasures like enjoying my morning coffee while reading the newspaper became subject to the facility's operational needs. "And we need to change your sheets now, Mr. James," a kind but insistent aide would announce, interrupting my rare moments of reflection. My protests were met with gentle but firm reminders about facility procedures. Within weeks, I stopped protesting altogether. Studies indicate over 60% of residents report feeling this loss of personal control, a statistic that fails to capture the emotional weight of surrendering the small decisions that once defined your day. Margaret, my neighbor across the hall, summed it up perfectly. "I used to be the chief executive officer of a small company, making decisions that affected dozens of people. Now I can't even decide when to take a shower." This loss of agency extends beyond schedules. It seeps into your sense of identity, questioning who you are when the rhythms that defined your life no longer exist. Equally distressing is truth number 2, the hidden reality of social isolation. Counterintuitively, being surrounded by people can intensify feelings of loneliness. Nearly 40% of nursing home residents experience significant isolation despite living in communal settings. The community dining room, which I initially viewed as an opportunity for connection, became a stark reminder of how proximity doesn't guarantee meaningful interaction. I remember watching Elaine, once a vibrant English professor, sitting silently at meals. When I asked why she rarely joined conversations, she whispered, "No one here knows me, the real me. They see an old woman who needs help cutting her food, not someone who taught Chaucer for 30 years. Her words haunted me because I recognized the same feeling growing within myself. The structured interactions, bingo games, movie nights, and supervised crafts, often feel performative rather than authentic. many residents retreat into silence, their rich inner worlds becoming increasingly private as meaningful exchanges become rare. Research from the Journal of Aging Studies reveals that even residents with intact cognitive abilities experience a form of social death when their relationships become limited to care transactions rather than genuine connections. Howard, a former carpenter who lived here for 5 years before his passing, developed what he called his survival rituals, small acts of sovereignty that maintained his sense of self. He would rise 30 minutes before the official wake-up call to enjoy private moments of reflection. He maintained correspondence with former colleagues, keeping his professional identity alive through letters when in-person connections weren't possible. Following Howard's example, I found small ways to reclaim pieces of autonomy. Personalizing my space beyond institutional decorations, maintaining a private journal of reflections, and establishing connections with staff based on mutual interests. Rather than care needs have created islands of authenticity in an otherwise regimented existence. For those considering this path, I encourage asking prospective facilities detailed questions about resident autonomy. Can mealtimes be flexible? Are there private spaces for personal hobbies? Can residents participate in meaningful decision-making about community life? These questions might reveal whether a facility views residents as patients to manage or individuals with continuing agency deserving respect. But that's not all. The challenges extend beyond these emotional and social dimensions. Let's now delve into the startling realities that impact your physical well-being and financial security, aspects that many discover too late after making this life-changing transition. Truth number 3 struck me during my second month here: the startling compromise on health and safety. When my daughter and I toured Sunset Haven, the marketing director emphasized their comprehensive medical oversight and rapid response protocols. What I discovered was a far cry from that reassuring pitch. One evening, my neighbor Thomas experienced concerning chest pains. He pressed his emergency button repeatedly, waiting nearly 40 minutes before staff arrived. They were short-staffed that night, was the explanation we received. Thomas survived, thankfully, but that incident shattered our collective illusion of constant vigilance and immediate care. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, medical errors in nursing facilities are alarmingly common, affecting as many as 1 in 3 residents annually. These range from medication mix-ups to delayed responses to health emergencies. Martha, who moved here with diabetes, shared her experience. 3 times in my first year, they administered the wrong insulin dosage. I only caught it because I've managed my condition for decades and recognized the symptoms immediately. The safety compromises extend beyond direct care. Despite the spotlessly clean common areas during family visits, less visible spaces often receive less attention. Bathrooms, where many accidents occur, may be cleaned less frequently than needed. Handrails in less traveled corridors might be loose for weeks despite maintenance requests. These seemingly minor oversights create serious hazards for vulnerable residents. Perhaps equally shocking is truth number 4, the hidden financial burden that gradually emerges. When I signed the contract, I believed I understood the costs involved. The base rate seemed reasonable given the promised services. What wasn't clear were the numerous add-on charges that would appear on my monthly statement. $25 each time staff helped me organize my medications, $35 for assistance with scheduling doctor appointments, additional fees for transportation to specialists beyond a certain radius. Studies by the American Association of Retired Persons show that nearly 50% of residents face these unexpected fees, which can increase monthly costs by 15 to 20% above the advertised rate. My neighbor Eleanor, a retired accountant, keeps meticulous track of these charges. In my first year alone, I paid over $7,000 in fees that weren't clearly disclosed during admission. More concerning is how these financial revelations affect care decisions. I've witnessed residents skipping therapy sessions they needed because they couldn't afford the extra charges. Others ration their requests for assistance to avoid accumulating fees, potentially jeopardizing their health and safety. the very things they came here to protect. For those considering nursing home living, I strongly recommend requesting a comprehensive fee schedule in writing before signing anything. Ask specifically, are there any potential charges not included in the base rate? Bring a trusted family, member or financial advisor to review contracts before signing. And most importantly, speak with current residents privately if possible. They often reveal financial realities that marketing materials conveniently omit. As for ensuring better care quality, research prospective facilities thoroughly. Check state inspection reports, which are public record. Look beyond the reception area during tours. Ask to see all living spaces, including those not on the standard visitor route. Note the ratio of staff to residents during evening hours and weekends, when facilities often operate with minimal personnel. If the body and wallet aren't safe, imagine the toll that isn't visible to the eye. Let's talk about the emotional impact that few discuss, but nearly all residents experience. Truth number 5 has been the most personally devastating, the profound, emotional toll and gradual erosion of identity that occurs within these walls. This aspect rarely appears in brochures but weighs heaviest in daily life. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology directly links institutionalization with significantly higher rates of depression among seniors, with estimates suggesting that over 40% of nursing home residents experience clinical depression, more than twice the rate among seniors living independently. Yet these statistics, like so many, fail to capture the lived experience. Within weeks of my arrival, I noticed subtle but troubling changes in myself. Interests that once animated my days, reading historical biographies, following current events, experimenting with new recipes, began to feel distant and somehow irrelevant within the institutional setting. The careful routine designed for operational efficiency gradually flattened the contours of my personality into something simpler, more manageable. Resident in room 215 became my primary identity, superseding Robert the history buff or Robert the amateur chef. This identity erosion happens insidiously. Staff members, despite good intentions, often speak to residents with diminutive language. Are we ready for our medicine? Or did we enjoy our dinner? Reinforcing a childlike status. Our preferences become quirks to accommodate rather than expressions of personhood to respect. Our histories, professional accomplishments, travels, unique experiences fade into background information rarely accessed beyond initial intake forms. Eleanor, once a distinguished professor of literature, described it aptly. It's as though I've been reduced to my physical needs. No one here asks about my thoughts on recent translations of Dostoevsky, or remembers that I speak 3 languages. I'm just the lady who needs help with her shower. Her words echoed my own experience of feeling increasingly invisible as a complex individual with a lifetime of experiences. This emotional burden manifests physically. Residents often show symptoms of what healthcare providers call failure to thrive, a condition characterized by withdrawal, decreased appetite, and declining function that stems not from physical illness, but from psychological distress. I've watched vibrant individuals who arrived with humor and energy gradually retreat into themselves, their spirits dimming as institutional living erodes their sense of purpose and identity. Yet resistance is possible. Those who fare best emotionally are residents who fiercely protect elements of their identity. Joseph, a retired musician, convinced the activities director to let him organize a small ensemble among musically inclined residents. Despite arthritis limiting his playing ability, his role as director maintained his connection to his lifelong passion. For my own preservation, I've established unwavering routines that honor my personal history, keeping a journal of reflections, maintaining correspondence with former colleagues, and requesting specific books through the libraries. For families considering nursing home placement, I encourage creating an identity preservation plan alongside the care plan. Provide staff with a detailed biography highlighting the person beyond medical needs. Bring meaningful objects that trigger memories and conversations. Visit regularly with conversations that engage the residents' expertise and interests, rather than focusing solely on their care. and for those already navigating this reality, seek therapeutic support. Many facilities offer access to mental health professionals, but rarely promote these services proactively. Regular sessions with someone trained to understand the psychological impact of institutional living can provide vital emotional anchoring. Beyond the emotional costs, one lingering regret ties all these truths together: the missed chances for what could have been a more fulfilling later life. Truth number 6 emerged gradually as I watched the seasons change outside my window: the profound regret over missed opportunities for a more fulfilling life in my later years. This realization came after meeting Helen, a spirited 83-year-old who visited her sister at Sunset Haven monthly. Unlike the residents, Helen radiated vitality and purpose. She lived in a senior co-housing community where residents maintained private apartments while sharing common spaces and support systems. "I considered moving into this facility when Martha did," Helen confided during one visit. "We both faced similar health challenges, but I couldn't bear the thought of giving up my kitchen garden or my book club leadership." Her decision to pursue alternative living arrangements preserved her autonomy while ensuring necessary support, a balance many residents here longed for after experiencing institutional living. The contrast between Helen's vibrant later life and the subdued existence within these walls highlighted the alternatives I hadn't fully explored. Research from the Commonwealth Fund suggests that approximately 60% of seniors in nursing facilities could potentially thrive in less restrictive environments with proper community supports and housing modifications. Yet many of us, confronted with the challenges of aging, presume that institutional care represents our only safe option. What many discover too late is that numerous alternatives exist, from naturally occurring retirement communities to home sharing programs, from village models that provide services to seniors aging in place to assisted living cooperatives where residents maintain decision-making power. Each option preserves different aspects of independence while addressing care needs through creative community solutions. Robert, who moved to a shared housing arrangement after just 6 months in nursing care, described his experience. "I contribute what I can, managing our community calendar and tending houseplants, while receiving help with tasks that have become difficult. Most importantly, I'm still living life on my terms, not according to an institutional schedule." His voice carried the unmistakable lightness of someone who had reclaimed their autonomy. This truth, that other paths exist, weighs heaviest on those who relinquished their homes, sold cherished possessions, and surrendered their daily freedoms before exploring all options. Many residents speak of dreams postponed indefinitely: the painting class they meant to take, the small trips to national parks they'd planned, the volunteering role they'd hoped to fill. These aren't trivial losses, but represent the essence of what makes life meaningful in our later years. For those weighing care options, I strongly encourage researching the full spectrum of possibilities before making irrevocable decisions. Contact your local area agency on aging to explore community-based services that might enable aging in place. Visit different models of senior living, not just traditional nursing facilities. Speak with current residents in various settings about their daily experiences, not during marketing tours, but in candid, private conversations. Most importantly, consider graduated approaches to addressing care needs rather than immediate full-scale transitions. Many seniors find that combining in-home services with community programs can postpone or even eliminate the need for institutional living, preserving their sense of purpose and connection to long-established routines and relationships. Now that we've unraveled these hard truths, let's come full circle to empower your future choices with clear-eyed awareness and renewed possibility. As we reach the conclusion of this journey through the 6 shocking truths about nursing home living, I want to emphasize that my purpose isn't to condemn these institutions or those who choose them. Many people genuinely require the level of care they provide, and many facilities strive to deliver compassionate support. Rather, my aim is to illuminate the often unspoken realities that deserve consideration before making this life-altering decision. Let's briefly recall the truths we've explored. the profound loss of personal autonomy that reshapes daily existence, the paradoxical social isolation that can occur despite communal living, the unexpected compromises in health and safety protocols, the hidden financial burdens that accumulate over time, the emotional toll and gradual erosion of identity, and, finally, the regret over missed opportunities for a more fulfilling later life. Each truth reveals an aspect of institutional living that marketing materials rarely address, but that fundamentally shapes the resident experience. Together, they form a complex picture that deserves thoughtful consideration rather than rushed decisions driven by crisis or limited information. Armed with this knowledge, you gain the power to chart a different course, one dedicated to preserving independence, meaningful connections, and opportunities for continued growth, regardless of the challenges aging presents. This might mean choosing alternative care models that better balance support with autonomy. It might involve creating detailed advance directives that protect your preferences, or it could mean preparing your home and support network for successful aging in place. For those already navigating nursing home living, whether as residents or as loved ones supporting someone in care, these truths can guide advocacy efforts and quality of life improvements. Knowing the typical pain points allows for more targeted interventions and more effective requests for accommodation. Remember that your journey is uniquely yours. My experience reflects just one perspective among millions of seniors navigating later life transitions. What remains universal is the human desire for dignity, purpose, and connection. Values that deserve protection throughout our lives, including our final chapters. Your future isn't defined by regrets, but by the choices you make today with complete awareness of their implications. Even small decisions, maintaining a personal passion, advocating for greater input in your care plan, or preserving meaningful relationships can significantly impact your sense of well-being and personhood as you age. I invite you to reflect on your own vision for later life. What elements feel essential to your sense of self? Which daily freedoms matter most? What relationships sustain your spirit? Let these questions guide your planning rather than defaulting to conventional assumptions about aging and care. If these truths resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences and insights might illuminate the path for others facing similar crossroads. Like this video and subscribe for more empowering content on navigating life's later chapters with wisdom and intention. I'll leave you with this question. What is one change you can implement today, whether in your current living situation, your future planning, or your approach to supporting an aging loved one, that would preserve what matters most for a truly fulfilling life, regardless of age or circumstance?